My name is Oshifesolu Adamlare. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as Formula One Column Africa. This is ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix, also known as the CM Grand Prix, also known as the Zandvoort Grand Prix. Today, we are going to be talking about two things. I'm going to be giving you the details of Netherlands Grand Prix, which is the Dutch Grand Prix, and also the Felipe Massa 2008 F1 saga. Those are the main things we are going to be giving you. Then, during the FP1, FP2, if there are teams that brought upgrades, we'll be talking about those teams, and also we'll be talking about whatever little things that has happened, but these two are most important for you ahead of the Grand Prix. So let's go. Now, the Zandvoort Grand Prix, which is previously known the Circuit Park Zandvoort until 2017, is a 4.259 kilometers, which is 2.646 miles motor racing track. It is a Formula One standard, that is the Grade 1 standard, and it is located in the dunes of North Zandvoort in the Netherlands, that is near the North Sea coastline. Now, it returned to the Formula One calendar in 2021 after a long time. It was last on the calendar in 1984-85 thereabout. I think it was 1985. It was seen last on the calendar, but before that time, there had been races since mid 1930s in Netherlands. There had been car races. I think F1 started officially 1950. Before that time, there had been different kinds of races, and in 1948 the track was really built after the Second World War, so they started building the track. They officially finished the track in 1949, but there was a race August 7, 1948 on that track, so there have been many iterations on that track. But before that, F1 was stopped on the Zandvoort track in 1985 because the people living close to the track, that is the buildings that are close to the track, which are estates, are complaining of the noise pollution. When there is noise pollution, there is air pollution. The noise the Formula One cars, the engines churns out, is deafening. Because of the noise pollution, the race was cancelled. It was meant to be that the track will be extended and those living around the estates around there will be relocated. They had a plan in 1987 to move those people away, to rebuild their houses for them. See country where they work, see Oyimbos that came to destroy our structure and foundation. Shall we say get structure safe? I don't even understand for Africans. I don't understand for us. Now listen, they listened and they took the track, like this piece of land close to the North Sea. We are going to use it for track, for racing, general, any kind of racing. But you guys are living here. We move you to another site. We build new houses for you, new estates for you. You guys go and live there free of charge. That was the plan of the government. They moved those people like it was promised. But unfortunately, when the green light was, they were to move those people out, which they started. So when the green light was given, the company that owned the municipality Zandvoort track were in danger of bankruptcy. So they filed that because the track was meant to be redeveloped and expanded. Because then, actually, the track was 4.193 kilometers in length. So they were meant to extend the track because they are moving people away from there. But they filed for bankruptcy. Plan stopped. The government was able to move those people away from there. So they built them new houses. But the plan for the track was stopped to extend it around that time. So for like a year, the track left Formula One agenda. It came back when new owners acquired the track and they increased the length of the track, and they kept on increasing it. At a point, they brought it a little bit shorter. That was in 1990 to 1998. But those times, it was not racing F1 around that time. It was not racing F1. And after a lot of ups and downs, the circuit was brought back in 2021. And I think that was part of the working of Formula One, working along with the Dutch and the owners, because they have a driver. And the driver in question is Max Verstappen, in which his father, Jos Verstappen, was also a former Formula One driver. And the sister too is a racing driver. The wife, that is the mother too, was a former motorsport driver. So that's why he is a pristine racing driver. He's one of the pristine racing driver in F1. I think he's still the only one that is just a pure blood racing driver in F1. The municipality of Zandvoort really tried to make sure they didn't permanently lose motorsporting in Zandvoort. So all through the time, that's from 1985 that Formula One ceased to be on the track in Zandvoort to 2021, they've been having GT World Challenge in Europe, DTM racing, FIA World Endurance, European races, Masters of F3, different races there. to keep the track going until they were able to bring back F1 in 2021. The circuit capacity is 105,000 spectators. That is to sit. It can contain more than that because it's a big track, but for them to have a sitting position moving around at least 105,000 people, and like I said, it's a FIA grade 1 track, which means any type of race can be run on the track. Now, the owner is now Prince Bernard of Orange Nassau. I think it was formerly owned by Menno de Jong. The prince is part of the royal family in Netherlands. Now, what are the major escapades in the recent times on the track? Like I told you, it's a 4.259 kilometers track. It has 14 tons, but the race lap record was in Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes W12 in 2021. 1 minute, 11 seconds, 9 hundredths of a second. That is the race record, and that is still the race lap record till now. But who are the winners on that track? Jim Clark had won 4 races on that track. Jackie Stewart had won 3 races on that track. Niki Lauda had won 3 races on the track. Louis Rosa, Alberto Ascari, Jack Brabham, James Hunt, Alain Prost, and Max Verstappen. They've all won 2 races on the track, and 2023 might be a third one for the Dutch driver, Max Verstappen, because that guy is on fire. They have the fastest car. His car, like I've always said, I think the car is different from the car Sergio Perez is driving. Rather, he's having a very good car. Now, the constructors that have won most races on that track, we have Ferrari winning 8 great races, Lotus winning 6 races, McLaren had won 3 races, Talbot Lago, BRM, Matra, Brabham, and Red Bull had all won 2 races right there. Now, the engine manufacturers that had won races there, most races on that track, they are also repeat winners there. So we have Ford engine winning 10 races, and we have Ferrari winning 8. Climax winning 4, Talbot Lago, BRM, and Tag. Tag is a Tagaya, that watch brand, their Formula 1 brand before. Those 3 engine manufacturers had won 2 races each. Now, in all the races, the 2 races that had been run there, we've had Max Verstappen winning the 2 races, the 2021 and 2022. Now, the pole position for 2022 was a whooping 1 minute, 10 seconds, and 3/10 for him to take the pole position. While on podium, he also won the race. Max Verstappen won from pole, and he took the race to that level of winning, with George Russell coming second and Charles Leclerc coming third. And the fastest lap last year was 1 minute, 13 seconds, 6/10. Now, that is for the Zandvoort GP. How are the tickets? Naturally, you should know the tickets won't be cheap. Although the tickets are selling fast, but they are not cheap. Formula 1 tickets are not cheap, you should know now. It's the pinnacle of sport. That is the main thing. Now, Friday is the cheapest event. And as at today, they are making this video, there are only 425 tickets left for Friday practice 1. There are 498 tickets remaining to cover the whole event. Whoa, this weekend selling fast because they have a Dutch driver. When such things happen, what do you expect? You expect people to just flow in, and you know what to expect now. Now, there are $100 tickets, there are e-tickets for $81, $136 tickets are all sold out, $123 tickets are all sold out. They are all restricted view tickets. We have $40 tickets, we have $1,000 tickets, we have $500 tickets, and it depends on where you will be. That is the kind of ticket you will get. Now, we have a $5,000 ticket for the general admission. There are only 2 tickets remaining, so you can jump on your ticket depending on where you want to sit. Like I said, so you can have gold ticket, you can have bronze ticket, you can have hospitality ticket. Just tell me the ticket you won't get, you would get the ticket right before the race and right on the race. So like I said, the tickets range from $45 to $5,000 or $6,000. That is for that. You can get your tickets. And this weekend, another one that this weekend though, there will be rain. There are threats of rain, and to be cloudy, but it cannot be really said how close the rain will be for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday race. But there will be rain, and as you all know, Formula 1 tracks, especially the European tracks, are very good at drying up. The best at drying up is the Japanese track. The Belgian track too dries very fast. I think this track too dries up very fast, but there are threats of rain in the sky, which will make the race interesting. We pray it should not be a rain that we cannot really hold, or it will be too much for the drivers to run, or it will be too dangerous for the driver to race. There are some sort of rain, when it falls, races will not hold. For some of you that have been watching Formula 1 before, you would know that there are some rains that when they fall, Formula 1 self will say, bro, there's no race. We can't race in this condition. So we pray that will not happen on Sunday or during any of the practices, and we hope it gives all the car manufacturers the opportunity to learn their car, to get better with their car, and we should have a good racing on Sunday. Those are the things that will determine the kind of race we have have on Sunday. We hope for a good weather during the weekend to give us a good racing on Sunday. Now, we talk about the Crashgate incident. Now, in 2008 Formula One Championship, there were just two protagonists, just like in 2021. There were Felipe Massa and Lewis Hamilton. Now, Felipe Massa was 16 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton before that race. So, before the race, the Renault team had a very bad qualifying. Now, the two drivers for the Renault team are Nelson Piquet Jr., the son of the former world Formula One champion. That is Nelson Piquet Sr., and that is the elder brother to Max Verstappen's wife. He's a Brazilian. If you remember, Nelson Piquet was the person that used some foul languages on radio in Brazil in 2021, and the interview came up in 2022, and it caused a real brouhaha in the camp, and a lot of things happened, and he had to apologize, but he meant it. He knew he meant it because his daughter is going out with the world champion now. You know what will happen now. He mishandled on the bigger level. So now back to the story. Nelson Piquet Jr. and Fernando Alonso, they were the two drivers for Renault. Now, that race happened in Singapore. We know Singapore is a very difficult track to overtake. The two of them qualified outside possible points, right? So we are really going to why Felipe Massa, who is also a Brazilian, wants to sue Formula One. This issue is funny because Renault team qualified outside the points, and it's very difficult for them to overtake or win the race, in which they know that if they win the race, they'll be able to hold down their sponsors for next year, which is 2009, and also be able to compete because of prize value where they will fall in the championship. They had a plan on how to win the race, and these are times in which Formula One, you can fill up your tank while driving, as in coming to the pit, change tires and add fuel to your tank before it was cancelled because of a drastic accident that occurred with Kimi Raikkonen before it was scrapped. Now, what really happened? The plan of Renault to win the race was Fernando Alonso to start on slick tires, that's the softest compound of tire, and to have less fuel on board so that he can overtake the cars with heavier fuel on board. Immediately the race started, he was able to overtake some drivers like they really meant. On lap 12, he got into the pit to change fresh tires and refuel, and eventually he would join the track. Immediately he came out of the track, his teammate Nelson Piquet Jr. crashed his car heavily into the wall at turn 17, which brought out yellow flags, and subsequently safety car was called out. I know what that means. Some cars can be allowed to change their tires, you understand. And now Fernando Alonso just pitted. He is on fresh tires with good amount of fuel. So when those cars were called inside, he was able to overtake some other cars while they entered the pit. He was now in the top 3, contesting for a race win. So around that time, Felipe Massa got into the pit. Now Ferrari made a mistake while they were changing his tire. They delayed Felipe Massa a little while changing his tire. Now by the time Felipe Massa came out, he came out 13th position. He came up behind the pack and ended the race 13th position, while his protagonist that time in Lewis Hamilton was able to finish 3rd, right? You understand? Lewis Hamilton was able to finish 3rd. He finished 13th. Lewis Hamilton finished 3rd. While Fernando Alonso was able, because he was fresher, before those cars ahead of him could go back and change tires, he led the race and he finished the race, winning the race. Fernando Alonso won the race. Lewis Hamilton fought for podium. He finished the race 3rd, while his protagonist, Felipe Massa, finished 13th. So, which means Lewis Hamilton was able to jump Felipe Massa right from the race and led him, I think, with 6 points to win the championship. Fernando Alonso won the race. Felipe Massa crashed out in 13th position. So what now happened? That same year, Renault sacked Nelson Piquet. They terminated his contract in 2009, which gave Nelson Piquet Jr. the audacity to come out and really say what really happened in 2008, because his contract has been terminated by Renault. So he came out to say, okay, fine, you guys think you are smart. You terminated my contract. I helped you win a race, terminated my contract. This is what happened the whole world. Yeah, but the championship had been won already. It is not Lewis Hamilton's fault that Renault planned such malicious Crashgate expedition. Meanwhile, it was not Felipe Massa's fault to come from, I think, 6th position or thereabout to lose out of points because Renault were greedy. Now, let us be sincere. Formula One aired later, but there was suspicion that this has happened then. There was suspicion in 2009 because it was really, really bad that people knew something had happened, but Formula One did not investigate until it came out in 2009 and they started investigation. But by the time they got out of the investigation, it was already late in 2009 and there was was nothing they can do. Even now, there's nothing they can do because it has been won already. They can only compensate him, which Felipe Massa is saying he wants compensation because that would have been his only Formula One championship he would have won in his career, and that was taken away from him by Renault. And all through his 15 seasons in Formula One, he scored 11 Grand Prix victories and 41 podiums, and he was a runner-up in 2008. I'm laughing because it's funny. Now, 2008, 2023, 15 good years later, he now came up with he's taking a legal action against Lewis Hamilton. Wait, was Lewis Hamilton in Renault? Was Lewis Hamilton part of those that planned the escapade? Meanwhile, these guys knew. They knew what happened, but they didn't do anything about it. They could not act on it. But I think the only thing he should be able to get is compensation. Seriously, he's just going to get a compensation because if they can do anything with what happened in 2008, I think they will do something about 2021. Maybe we will erase 2021 final race with those cars, the RB17 and the W12. I think it's very race, to know who really won. Seriously, it is a very funny story, a very, very funny story. And Benny Ecclestone knows, they know, and the FIA know, but I think for now, he can only sue them and get compensation for the championship. Maybe they give him the title money for victory and get money for the embarrassment or whatever. They will call it as lawyers, and he makes some more millions at 42 from F1 and he moves on with his life. But it's a very funny thing that happens, and I can remember in 2021 there were races in which Red Bull team solicited for their young team AlphaTauri to not race Max Verstappen in 2021 and in some races in 2022. They could not race him. Franz Tost would say, oh, this is not your race, don't race him, which I think is not good in F1. They should look at all these things, and F1 needs to really sit down, look at all these things that are really happening, because these scandals are getting too much. It is going to soil F1 and it is going to take away sponsorship from them. I remember in 2021 the Mercedes team were about going to court and they were really burdened and summoned not to really go. If they had gone to court, it would have destroyed the credibility of F1 and it could make F1 go insolvent, because nobody would want to do business with such ventures that manipulate things. That certainly nobody wants. So a venture that is in court or whatever, that would have happened to F1 and they would lose a lot of sponsorship and business, and it might end F1 insolvent around 2022. So that was why they didn't go, because they are still part of the Formula One history, as in the Mercedes are still part of the Formula One story and history. So I think that was why they didn't go to court. But F1 needs to look into themselves, because these are getting too much. They are listening to radios, so they should be able to know how these things are happening, the way they can curb it, so that it won't affect the joy of Formula One racing and take away the beauty we love in Formula One. So ahead of Zandvoort, so, who will win the race on Sunday? We all know Max Verstappen is spicingly hot. He's the hottest driver on the track now, because he's just winning every race, and that would have boosted his confidence coming into the second part of the season. He knows he's going to wrap up the championship, but when will he wrap it up? Is it Singapore or Brazil? It depends on how close the other teams are, or if any of the drivers will win any race in this second part of the season. But as we know, the red, spicy, tasty Otalenu, hottest driver on the track now is Max Verstappen. So we're giving it to him, but there will still be other predictions by the time we are dropping the video of the FP1, FP2, and also we give the final prediction on Saturday. There will be a video that will ask questions and there will be prizes to be won. On our FP1, FP2 video, you will see the prizes that are meant to be won for that video. But for the qualifying, it's going to be a very close qualifying. The qualifying will be between the Red Bulls, the Mercedes, the Ferrari, and the McLaren. I can tell you, those are the four teams that will come so close in qualifying, and also for free that the qualifying, the Q3, the distance between the pole position and the fifth will be just like possibly 4/10 at most will be the qualifying distance between the pole position, that is the first and the fifth. Then from the first to the 10th will be like 7/10. Zandvoort is a very small track, very fast flowing track, a lot of high speed corners, which will favor almost all those teams I mentioned. That is the Red Bull, that's the fastest car right now. The Red Bull, the Mercedes, the Ferrari, and the McLaren will be so much favored. So it's going to be a very close qualifying, but the race is going to be different. The Red Bull are winning the race. We already know that. we know they are winning the race. That one is no competition. But how close will that be? We'll tell you on Friday based on what we see in FP1, FP2. Catch you on Friday for the P1 and P2 analysis. Let's pray. We can't stop the work of God. There is rain, but the rain is not too much, so we can enjoy the race. See you then. Love you. And like I said, I don't know in the video that the question will come up, but the question for the week will come up in one of these videos. And a 1:43 race car for Red Bull or Ferrari will be won. Thank you. We love you. Subscribe, like, share, comment. I love you. Bye. Chi.
Gibor gives you power. Gibor gives you control. Gibor gives you benefits. Are you an individual or business that uses fuel or gas? Use Gibor to find the best prices across all retail outlets in your city. For users and businesses that buy volumes, Gibor gives you access to credit. Gibor also gives you the ability to track your costs and monitor expenses per car or fleet. Need to improve your costs, enjoy incentives, or track expense? Gibor is the answer. Enjoy 5% discount on your first 5 purchases when you get your next fuel voucher from Gibor. Log on to www.gibor.co to enjoy this. Retail outlets wanted nationwide.
I have a new friend in the house. We are in Nigeria here, West Africa. He provides internet for us. They provide the best internet around the mainland, and I know they are still moving to the highland and they are moving all around Nigeria. But for you to get internet on the mainland, contact Fibrad Telecom Limited. They get you sorted out ASAP. The best cable internet on the mainland, fiber, I think they get sorted out. We talk much about them in the course of some of our videos, but contact them, they get sorted out.
If you're a builder, if you're an art collector, if you have a showroom, Rated is the best place to get the artworks you need for your new buildings, for your art collections, for your showroom, for your exhibition. Rated Art have one of the best murals, mosaic works, and different art patterns in Nigeria presently. And it's somebody that you can communicate with, talks to you, you tell him what you want, and he will bring the reality out for you. Contact Rated Art. His number is right up here, and you can also go on social media links that are pasted right up here. So check out some of his works. Thank you. Teams Gadget is for those of you that cannot easily go to the market to get your phones, your laptops, your accessories. Just place a call through. His phone number is there. It gets you the best. It's your shop plug to get you the best phones, accessories, laptops, games, and other accessories for your computer gaming experience. Contact Teams Gadget and you get them for you.